All right, peek ahead 435.
What is happening where you are? Why are you so cold?
I just got off the motorcycle. I'm trying to get home tomorrow, and I had like 1,250 miles to go. I still have 700 more miles to go. And I guess I would just try to drive the last minute because that's not a very good split. And I just rolled in. It's so fucking cold. I have no idea. Who goes on a motorcycle adventure in the middle of fucking December?
Wait, no, we don't want to say anything.
You do.
It's the holidays and everything. Right? You do.
I mean, honestly, I think that was my and Kyle's first reaction was like, oh, December, huh? You know, yeah, you want to go when the roads are totally empty.
Except for out there.
Holiday
no
traffic.
Law enforcement, like... It seems like an awful time to do this, but you did it.
Trailers. Yeah, I've got one more leg. Hopefully I can do 7. I expect to do 700 miles tomorrow. If I don't, then it'll be 2 days, but it'll be what it'll be.
That doesn't seem like that many miles for a bike, though.
Yeah, it is.
Bikes do fewer typically miles than a car can do.
Oh, I was just thinking speed. Like I imagine
but he
average
doesn't
speed
want to
is way higher.
Yeah, you do like $180 the whole time. It's
I can do more miles in a car. It's just more effort on a bike. Like everything is more effort. My hands are freezing. I have winter gloves. I have heated grips. It's not enough. My hands are perpetually cold. I'm driving one-handed, alternating which one is going like under my balls to warm up.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, my whole body is cold. I'm so cold that when I'm put into the warmth, I'm still not warm. And I'm like, what? How do you get warm again? Are these clothes keeping the cold in? Is that what's happening right now? You think that's it?
I saw last night there was like, I wasn't paying attention, but the Weather Channel was on, and they were like, the whole map was purple and like deep, like colors they don't usually bring out. You know, like is that magenta? Does that mean
it's almost circled back around to hot?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost come full circle. They're about to turn the Midwest black at this point because of some winter vortex. And I was thinking like, yeah, Woody's right there in the middle of that big pink zone.
It's like I'm just trying to stay in front of that storm system, and I forget what they're calling it, like snow cyclones or something like that. And they're like, there's only a couple inches of snow dropping, but the winds are so bad it's going to be blizzard conditions even with just the snow on the ground. And I'm like, oh my god, I got to get home. So
there's only 2 inches of snow, but that's because the snow was afraid of the cold and
it quickly turned to ice.
The off-road portion, the real part that I did this for, was a blast. It really worked out. It sort of met all my expectations. I enjoyed it. The ride there was just cold. I think it was 5 days and it rained like 3.5 of them. It was just, and it's a special kind of December rain. Like it's cold.
Yeah, it's barely liquid water. Like
the way back has been more of the same. Not rain, really, just cold, just so shivering cold. I look forward to getting home.
Where are you now?
Somewhere in Tennessee, past Memphis. Is there a Jackson, Tennessee? I'm not. Wait, maybe this thing will say
Jacksonville.
Okay.
No, it doesn't say.
Yeah, are you guys supposed to get like a bunch of snow this weekend?
I don't know if North Carolina we'll get weather for some. It'll be cold and it'll be rainy. It may snow. I'm not sure.
They never know shit about the Midwest until it's happening because of all the weather things. And so, like, I was literally reading an article today where it's like St. Louis going to get between 2 and 12 inches of snow. And it's like, that's not a helpful, like you got to narrow it down. Like, at least pretend you know what's going on.
Your weather forecast is you may or may not have a problem.
Yeah, it could be awful, or it could be just. I mean, if it's going to be that cold anyway, I'd like a couple days of snow. Make it look nice.
I'm not even going to complain about like the little bit of chilliness that we have here. It's cold, but it's not knuckles in your crotch cold.
Dude,
Jesus.
When I crossed I like the Mississippi River. I feel like it doesn't get the credit it deserves. I know you can't really play in it.
Big river, yeah.
But it's a cool, like, national landmark. Like, people think of Yosemite and all this cool shit, but I feel like the Mississippi River, at least in my circles, doesn't get the credit it deserves. I crossed it on Interstate 20 on the way out there, and it lacked the grandeur. Interstate 20 doesn't do it right. There aren't towns on either side of it. Like, when I crossed it doing the Transamerica Trail, it was like tourist attractions and stuff. Neat little quaint town on either side of the river. Like those guys did it.
I've never noticed.
Did you cross it on 40?
This time I did.
Okay.
And it's a little better, but I didn't stop.
I
Kyle.
wouldn't either.
I'm trying to think where it even is. Like I never noticed. Like the ones I've really noticed driving like along the southern part of the U.S., like through Louisiana, there's a big bridge there somewhere, like a crazy long bridge that you drive on for like miles and miles, and you're just you're still on the bridge, whatever that thing is. And then going up to Chicago by land for some reason, I always go over this really tall bridge that has like suicide warnings on the approach. They're like, you know, if they say stuff like, so there's like, it's like, you know, turn back, you don't need to die. But then there's also some signs that are like, if you see somebody, they're not a tourist, they're not a looky-loo, this is not a pedestrian bridge, warn someone. Like, you know, honk 3 times in case of jump or whatever it says. But like when you get up on that thing and you're going over it, you're like, oh yeah, I'd die. Yeah. Oh yeah, this isn't one of those. This isn't one of those point your toes and cross your arms. This is like, holy shit, we're gonna hit the water hard.
Yeah, I didn't understand that as a kid. Like when I'd hear about like Golden Gate Bridge jumpers until I saw like what you were jumping into, and it's like, oh,
well, they're
man.
dumb there too because
You can survive. Some people have.
And then get sucked out because you're right there where you get that inlet or whatever you call it. Like, because I know that's one of with Alcatraz, which is like on the other side of the bridge. That was one of the things they always talked about, that like maybe you could get to here, maybe you get to there, but then you just get sucked out to sea because that's what those currents do. This, that, and the other. It's like
lots of time for regret.
How horrifying would that be? You've been behind bars for 15 years and you're like, freedom, and then you're like, wait, the shores. Wait, what now? And you just keep going. You just keep going and like die of thirst out there. And
then do you think they spend a lot of time looking for you? Or are they like,
not out there?
I don't see him. Like just standing on the beach squinting.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
Supposedly no one ever escaped, but then there's, I don't know, if you grew up during the 90s, then you watched one of the 30 like TV shows about could they have survived, and then they had that little animated like dotted trail thing across the bay. Well, they'd have had to paddle it 12 miles. Yeah, that seems impossible.
It's like the answer may surprise you. The answer is no. Like
a bunch of people have done that swim. That's like a swimmer's thing. The swim from Alcatraz to where is it, San Francisco? I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, that's the
possible,
city that it's like.
But you have to be a real swimmer. Like you have to be an in-shape swimmer who's competitive at swimming, and you don't have to be world class or anything. But it's a tough swim. So
you need that background at the very least. Like
exactly,
you need to practice.
For some regular person, or even like an out-of-shape ex-swimmer, you might just die.
But all right, so here's my like hypothetical, and it's what it would have to be, right? You would need to be a really strong swimmer from your younger days. Now you've been in prison for a while, and you just do some jumping jacks. You're obviously you're not doing laps in the pool.
Yeah. No one's going to be able to be that good at swimming after like 12 years on the inside.
Why not?
Because you fall.
If they needed to play a quick game of like pick up basketball, and all we've been doing is like swimming, I'd be like, well, yeah, he's in shape. Yeah, but he's only swam for exercise. Yeah, so good cardio and good on the jaw. All right, great. Get him in the game.
I think that's a pretty good comparison. Like, it depends on how good you need to be at basketball. Do you need to be at your best? Because your shot's going to be cold. You're dribbling. Your handles aren't going to be at your peak. But you are still a basketball player, right? You're still a basketball player. Like Taylor, you haven't been playing hockey lately, but you're light years better than someone who doesn't have your background.
Sure.
I fall over and hurt myself.
So
you're out there like taking big wide strides and like looking around like, wow, it's bigger down here in a real like
the water's not that cold.
So it is pretty cold.
Is it?
Very cold.
Well, then wouldn't that be the hardest thing? Like if you haven't done it in a long time, you wouldn't know how to breathe right. And right?
That's not the scary part, but there is I don't know how to train for cold. Like that's just 10 degrees lower than other parts of the bay. Well, I don't know where that is, but
yeah, exactly.
Sounds cold.
So somewhere between very cold and not cold at all.
So on the East Coast, the Gulf Stream goes from Florida up towards Maine. On the West Coast, I think it's the opposite. I think it comes down from Alaska, and that's why California beaches are so cold.
Never been to a
Well-
California beach. Wouldn't know.
Well, wear a
Oh,
wetsuit.
Taylor, I sent you a book. Did you get it today?
No, I didn't.
It's in your mailbox.
I'll go out and check after
Neat.
this. Well, thank you for the book. I imagine it's Warhammer related. I'm going to
It
tear
is
through it.
Warhammer related, and it's I don't know how long the book is going to be because I did the audio book, but it's like a 10, 14 hour like listen or something like that. So it's probably like pretty manageable.
Awesome. Thank
I
you,
liked
man.
it a lot.
I
It's called
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's called Krieg, Krieg. It not only tells like the background of the Krieg, but it juxtaposes that with like a modern story of them. Like while they're doing a thing right now, there are these flashbacks to like 1,000 years ago. Like oh, you're wondering why we're like this, and then they like flashback to like their founding and stuff. So it's fun. They bounce around through the timelines. You get to see like an Inquisitor, the Krieg. I think orcs are
I'm
the
excited.
main bad guy.
That'll be fun. This is a cool world. I'm excited to learn more about it.
Yeah,
Cool universe, right?
Yeah, I was trying to play. I've been looking for a game to play. I'm bored. The Tarkov wipe is about to happen. I'm the Dark Tide.
When's
people-
Dark Tide gonna be done?
Well, I don't know. I'll go back. I'll
So you're
go back
dark
and
tided
play-
out already?
Oh yeah,
I'm not playing
so
shit
upset
until
with
I get
that.
a scoreboard. I'm not even paying for it.
Yeah,
I will not play unless I can gauge how if I'm getting better or not.
Wow,
it's such
that's
an
really
important
important to
part
you.
of the game. Oh yeah,
It's
like
an-
Age of
so
Empires
important.
2. This game from 1999, which I mean is remastered, but they didn't add more stats. You can go to 15 different layers. What were your military stats? What were your economy stats? What were your total kills, total deaths? How many of these buildings did you have? That one. This game is 30 years or 20 something years or newer, and nothing. It's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to not have something that fundamentally
I'll
necessary to
concede
enjoying
that
the game.
you like it and that you're not alone in liking it. I don't value the scoreboard that much.
But you don't want to play the game more than super casually, though, right? Like you don't want to play
no, I want it to
dozens
be
and dozens
good.
of hours.
I-
But how would you know if you're good?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I hear
If
your point.
every game you'd be like, we won again, and everybody else is like,
Yeah.
you're like, man, it's just so easy. There's only like 8 enemies.
Well,
We're all like Rick and Morty at the end
you know,
of the
the
episode
trick to
when they
doing
were
well in
pretending
this
it was
is to walk behind you guys.
yeah.
Yeah. like, but then I wouldn't mind if I looked at it and I had 800 kills and you had 100. I'd be like, fuck yeah, do it again. like
Yeah.
I wouldn't care because I'd know and I'd feel good. And look, I don't need a scoreboard. I don't want to rub anybody's face in anything. Give me my private stats. Leave theirs out of it. Just say, hey, Kyle, you got 100 kills. Oh, good to know. Last raid, I only got 85, and I was using the dagger. But you're telling me I can get fucking 20 more kills every raid just by using the sword. I'm writing stats down anyway. Like I'm fucking. I like stats. I like numbers. I'm over here constantly jotting shit down for these games.
With your notebook.
Yeah. We've gone old
notebooks-
time. We're
They're
old
getting
timey now.
Older and older now.
I
This
love
is what I
that.
keep my secrets in.
Kyle has surpassed me as the oldest person on the show somehow.
I like,
Get
I
his
like
glasses
notebooks.
out. So he can write down.
I really like notebooks. I like writing it. I like writing down with ink.
Well, Kyle, I know you said you're looking for. I've got 7 of my friends now, all playing AOE 2.
I see you guys getting on. Are you getting on like all the time?
It's fun.
Some-
I mean, it's like
some-
every game where I leave it running all the time, but like, it's a
Some retard
give
in
it a
our
go.
Discord.
It's really difficult to like get good at. You liked Age of Mythology. It's like that, except much more complicated. And there's a lot more counter units. The economy's harder to run. It's
I
just a
got-
more complicated version.
I got Warhammer 3 today, so I just played a little bit of that, but that's going to tide me over, I think, to the Tarkov wipe. It's wiping in the next less than 7 days. Like the next,
So they haven't announced it. Have they, like they don't? Sometimes
Well-
they tell you like 4 days in advance, or I forget.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember that ever happening. I remember them being like wipe soon, and then like pre-wipe events start where they start ramping the
Yes,
craziness
that's-
up. So we're into like the 3rd or the 4th pre-wipe event. Every
Okay.
day they're doing a different thing. Frankly, they're things that don't have any interest to me. Somebody who kind of like went up to level 42 and I've got millions and millions of rubles and all the guns and stuff. To me, I'm done. But so the things they're doing are giving you end game progression to the people who didn't do what I did. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Like
so
how?
nothing for me then. They made a quest so that if you get 15 melee kills, and a Tagilla, who's a boss, melee kill on, then you can get max traders. All your traders are max now.
Okay.
They made a thing so that player dog tags are worth, I don't know the multiplier, but like 280 times the level, I think. So if your level 1 tag is worth 280 rubles, but a level 50 is worth, it's incalculable, over 100,000, 125,000 or something like that, roughly. And then they've also increased the rate at which you, not your leveling experience, but your physical trait experience, like the RPG stuff. It's like 2,400% faster. So you can go on a raid and just shoot a gun off, and you can see like your recoil control like tanking up. So it's giving everybody max end game levels, stats, traders, and stuff.
That's
I've already got that stuff. Like I'm good.
Oh,
I'm ready for the wipe, you know. So I kind of pop in. I'm like, oh, okay. So this one, I think yesterday they made it so that the cost for upgrading your hideout was bottles of beer. So now bottles of beer are like the thing to find, and like everybody's like running around fighting for bottles of beer or anything you can use to make bottles of beer. I'm mostly just trying to get like unrusty, like memorizing my keybinds and stuff, and playing with the new PC and being amazed at the performance of it in Tarkov, because Tarkov is so demanding. But I'm ready for the wipe. It's gonna be fun. The Streets of Tarkov is definitely coming, and a lot of people think they're gonna do some stuff with the traders, and they've all but confirmed that the quests are quite different now. So that early game Tarkov does not mean customs; it means streets. Early game Tarkov is going to, because what they want the game to eventually be, when you log in, there are no traders because you haven't met them yet in the world of Tarkov. There are no maps. There's one map. There's Streets of Tarkov, and everybody on day 1, level 1, goes to Streets of Tarkov, and they begin their journey unlocking maps and traders, so that they can utilize them. So you'll have to go in and, like, I'm just making this up, like rescue the therapist from like some USEC guys or something, and she'll be like, "Oh, I owe you one. You know, I run a little clinic on the outside. You and I can do business." Like, there's going to be like an interaction, something like that. Because I've seen the 3D models of like the traders that we're so familiar with, like the Prapper and therapist, and them like as characters talking and moving.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. I've never seen them as characters talking. I just know their pictures.
Yeah, that's the goal, is for all of that to work as I just described it. So yeah, a lot of stuff's coming out. People have been waiting about 5 years for this.
Yeah,
like it's a very big deal. For those who, I'll say this: Twitch is going to be all Tarkov. I would say by Sunday or Monday, there'll be 250,000 to 350,000 people on Tarkov. I guarantee it. There's 24,000 right now by comparison, because they'll do like drops on wipe day plus the new map, and then they'll, I don't know, spend $1 million paying Twitch people to play the game that don't normally.
Are all the Tarkov streamers like taking it easy right now because they don't want to grind?
They literally are. It's fun to see like how they all like.
Because it'd be a waste. Like, why would they?
It's like a marathon is coming up.
Yeah.
A marathon's coming up, and it's cool to see how the athletes are prepping for it. Pastilli's like, he's got other people at his house. It seems like when he's doing a charity stream right now, so he's kind of a unique example. So he's got a guy like on camera while he's asleep that people seem to like. I don't know that guy, but like I clicked in, I just like scrolled past it, and I think he was doing jumping jacks. Like just some random middle-aged man was doing jumping jacks for like 1,200 people.
Is it his father by chance? Do you know that?
I've seen his dad. This man looked younger, like I don't know, 30s, 40, late 30s, early 40s, something like that. And then some of the other guys are just toning their hours down or playing other games. And but everybody that I've gone, Willers and Landmark and all the people that I watch, Slush Puppy, they're getting ready for the big plunge. I don't know about Slush Puppy, actually. He's been playing so much of that Dark and Darker game that we were talking about on the last show. I think he intends to be one of the highest ranked people on the planet. So I think he's been grinding the shit out of that. That game, so hard, I quit. That game is so hard.
Now I
need help. That game is so hard. I need help.
This game, and help me. What was the other game that's a little bit like
Elden Ring?
That is
Elden
what
Ring.
I'm going for. Thank you. Yeah. So
Right, Elden
Kyle
Ring's next
and
level
Kyle's
hard.
not alone. we were in the PKA hangout. And you have to know, Kyle's a real gamer, right? Everyone listening to the show knows Kyle plays games. He's been playing for a long time. He is not a pro gamer, but he is better than most. If he was your friend, he'd be your most talented friend.
He can pick any game up pretty quickly.
Yeah. When
I've
he says a game is too hard, that game's fucking hard. We were in the PKA hangout. This is Elden Ring. And Kyle's like, it's too hard. And everyone else there is like Kyle's peer. And they're like, yeah, that game's too hard. That game's too hard. Most people didn't like it.
Yeah, they're all better than me. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's too hard. I don't like that. And the problem is I'd never played what are they called? Scrolls? Whatever that series of games is.
Dark
Souls games. That's what I mean. I'd never played any of those before, or any game that makes you like dodge, parry, duck so accurately. And it's really hard for me to pick up the combos because they'll do sort of this thing where they pull back to hit you, and then they're like, what? It's like a baseball player. They like give it a little twirl, and then wham! And it's like, fuck, there was it was a wind up, but no warning. Like I didn't know when it was coming. And and it's just instant death, or it'll be like, you've got 100 HP, it takes 87 of them away, and now you're just like, can I get away to heal up? And he's like, I'm on a horse, dummy. Right down, like whomping you. I had to give up on that one. Now, Dark and Darker is more is an example of me just being a low level, not knowing what I'm doing, and needing friends. It's 3 players go into a raid. Imagine it's just like Tarkov, and it's an extraction game. But you're going to pick a class first. You're going to be like one of the traditional Dungeons and Dragons classes, a cleric, a wizard, I think maybe like a barbarian or a soul, stuff like that. And obviously they have very different stats and weapons and speeds and stuff. And you go and you crawl through a goddamn dungeon, but you immediately run into difficult AI and people.
Real people?
Yeah, who are also doing the same thing. They're in parties of 1 to 3 as well. I was playing solo, and I'd run into 3 fucking wizards or some shit. I got my dagger, and I was like, stay back! They're like, get fucked, loser! And they just
You're like, can I be on your team?
Oh, that too. Like I ran into another solo, and I crouch, and he crouches. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And now we go on like a swashbuckling adventure. So we run into 3 scary men who are already on a swashbuckling
and they did
adventure.
not respond to your crouching.
They had a wizard with them. You need
to play a wizard, it seems like.
Well, like the wizard was so hard, dude. Like this wasn't like in Skyrim or something that I played before when it's like, all right, left button's the fireball, right button's the telekinesis. Look out, motherfucker. It was like, this dude immediately pulls out a book. Like a big old grimoire, and it's got all sort of pentagram, and he's like, I've been through this, and we're in battle. Like I'm not in another screen. I got the book out, and I'm running around, and I hit the wrong button, and he sits down and starts meditating. like he's meditating to lower his you would like
stress.
Because you'd use your magic, and it start to overheat. You do this mechanic where you like something like that. You recharge your magicka or something, and so I'm sitting there, and they're fucking ding ding, and you die fast. You die really fast, and the AI is very difficult. But the game looks like it cost $200,000 to make. So the AI
I'm watching
is
a gameplay video. It's not any better looking than Skyrim.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful looking.
Maybe a little worse looking than Skyrim.
But it's very, very popular, and I think that if they keep supporting it, and if they're able to keep the people on Twitch playing it, then it's going to continue to be really, really popular. Because I don't know, I can see where it could be addictive. I'm going to need friends to play that one. You can't play that one solo.
Can you change the difficulty?
Well, it's it's a multiplayer game, so no, you're in there with. There might be different arenas that I wasn't aware of, like where we can play in some different fashion, like maybe just AI, but I doubt it. It's not just early access; it's like early alpha bullshit.
Okay.
That you had to request to be part of the thing. I think it's free. I don't think I paid anything.
They've got that same grid inventory system Tarkov has.
Yeah, it's very Tarkov-esque. With that's the new thing, if you ask me, is the extraction based shooter. this obviously isn't exactly a shooter. It's its own really weird niche thing. But extraction-based gaming in general, I think, is going to be the new thing going forward. Whereas, PUBG exploded with Battle Royale, and everybody copied it, and it became the thing. And you saw this little Korean, I think, studio come up with this great idea. They didn't come up with it on their own. Obviously, it dates back, I think, to Battle Royale, the movie. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. But obviously, every AAA developer went out there and copied it and did it better. Fortnite is massive. I can't imagine how big Fortnite is at this point. Those gigantic mobile games. I don't know if it's growing. I just know how it just seems so culturally relevant. We talk about Avatar sometimes and how nobody fucking even knows who those blue people are, what they do. The Naboo, I don't fucking know. But
close. Yeah.
God damn it, I've seen kids do dances and shit from that game and sing the songs, and I didn't like it when it came out. I hated it. I was like, no, I like PUBG better. I like the aesthetic of that better, the gameplay of that better, and I don't want to build shit. So it was just like quick. We played for like 3 hours and quit when it came out, and then it went on to be just so goddamn gigantic. But yeah, I think BR's out, extraction stuff's in. There's several really cool extraction games right now. I think Hunt Showdown. I haven't played any of that. Don't even know what it looks like, but I've heard that it's similar. It's sort of a light version. And then there's a space game now where, you know how in The Expanse they have that concept of raiding enemy ships where they crash like a pod into your ship and it like blows a hole into your ship that they can then breach through. That's what the game is. Like, you're in these little pods like ramming other people, and that's how you do your raid. They're like, it's like I think the lore is that World War II never ended. Maybe the Nazis won, but everything has a very space Nazi aesthetic. Well, like, they're winning. Maybe I didn't get too deep into it, but like
1,000 years in, and they've got the lead. But we can come back.
You look like space Nazis or something.
We are being dominated. Take your 1,000 years into World War II, and Mecha Hitler is still a problem.
You said that close enough to the Call of Duty 4 announcer that it almost triggered one of those Winter Soldier fucking ticks in my head. I was like, oh shit, capture A, somebody.
What was that other one that the guy always yelled? The Arab guy?
Yamagahalov! Which I think is Arabic for frag grenade or explosive.
It could have been Arabic for I'm about to shoot my gun. I'm running right now. I'm throwing a grenade.
Reload.
I'm crouching.
I think it's grenade though. I think it's specifically.
I think it was grenade. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's all those little blurbs. Remember from Age of Mythology, all that nonsense the villagers saying, like, Vormos, Vulame. Every time you like grab one, select him to do a task, he goes Vulame. I don't know what that means in Greek, but it probably means yes, sir, or some shit like that.
I love that with those Age of whatever games. They just didn't bother with any voice lines, like,
so
at
cheaper.
all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just silly noise. And in this one, like Age of Empires 2, obviously it's like different cultures, and so like you click like a Japanese villager and have him do something. He's like, "Honoshi, honori, ono," and then you click like a British one. He'll be like, tell him to chop wood, and he'll be like, "Chopper, chopping." Like that kind of shit. But they go all out with the Japanese and the Chinese, like straight up like, oh no shit, oh no, don't know. It's like, all right, was this cool in the late 90s? Like you could just do that? But yeah, they had a whole tournament called the Wolololo tournament because they only got one audio clip for the monks for the whole game, and all it does is go Wolololo, Wolololo when he's trying to convert you.
That's from Age of Mythology too.
Yeah, they couldn't spare any money on two Wololos.
Okay, all right, that's so funny you say that. That's so identical, almost identical to the Civ 5 one when you're sending like I can't think if it's missionaries or some other unit. You use it to convert enemy cities. I think it's like
same thing.
And he goes whoa, lo, 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 and some sparkles come out, and all of a sudden all your people are Jews. It's like shit. Like they took root that quick. It's just one turn and they're all Jews.
One turn and you're all Hebrews.
The
now.
religious wars in that game are so funny because they piss you the fuck off. You can't like if they just showed up with army, like you'd be like, fuck you, blow your shit up. But they show up these little missionaries and you can't declare war because it's like real life. If some missionaries showed up, you can't just kill them. It starts a war. So you have to just let them come in and convert your people to their bastard religion, They make you tie up your own resources defending against it.
Civ, it was such a fun game. It was so deep though, and by the time I like started playing it, like you and everybody in the Discord was like on the last kind of leg of you guys being into it, so it was like impossible to keep up because every turn, especially early game, when like turn-based RTS, early game is always the most important because you're building the foundation of everything. Like you need to know when to research pottery, you know, when to build a certain building. And if you get to like turn 5 and you did something out of order, it's like, oh well, this was fun. Like there's no way for me to catch up correctly because I'm
you've got to be prepared for one of the big things.
Kyle got too good, right? It was like, oh, let's play Civ. We're all gonna goof about, and Kyle's like, I don't know, a fucking fully decked out samurai warrior just slicing and dicing me, and I'm like, that I don't like this game.
Oh yeah, I'd be like really excited that I was getting into crossbows, and he's like got like low level planes.
Yeah,
like
it's
some of the.
Imagine you like boxing, right? Like let's spar, and he just beats the fuck out of you every time. You're like, you know what? Boxing's not fun. It's. I'm out of my league.
Even when you play a game, because Kyle throws himself into learning games he wants to get good at. And like Kyle had no experience with real-time strategy, like top-down RTS, like Age of Mythology. I had a ton of experience with it. It took him less than like a week of gaming sessions, not even every day, until we're playing and I'm like looking at the score and I'm like, oh fuck, like he's right there. How is he going this fucking fast? And like you would just practice build orders, which is how you actually get good at games like that. And you would just restart,
and watch YouTube videos on them, and
you have to do that stuff for RTS games. Yeah. And so like RTS more than like Call of Duty stuff like that. Like if you just watch a few YouTube videos of some like nerd online who's really good, you can be like, all right, I'm going to do exactly what this guy does. And then once I get to like the 20-minute point of the game, I've done the whole build order, and now I can kind of freewheel.
Because it's not like a shooter where it's like I can watch Landmark jump out that window, turn to the left, and shoot those guys in the head over and over. But goddamn if I can do it. You know, there's something about my hand-eye coordination that's just not there. It's just never gonna be, no matter what. I can get close by practicing 8 hours a day. I can get as good as I can be, but I can't get to him because he has this talent and whatever else. But with RTS, well, I can sit there and I can put your screen. And I mean, like whoever's the best in the world, I can put him next on that screen. I can have my screen here, and I just try to keep pace. Now it's just clicking and memorizing things. That I can be as good as the best guy in the world, at least at the build order. I might not be able to stop on the fly and change his build order like he can. He could be like, he could see that, let me add a little bit more richness to the fuel here or whatever. Like he can change things on the fly because he's an expert. But I can copy his build order and keep.
Sometimes there's other decisions to be made, like in Civ, for example, where are you going to put your city? That's really important. And you need to quickly size up an area, make some educated guesses. Is this the best I'm going to find? Is it worth going 7 more moves to find a better place? It might not be. 7 moves is a lot. That takes a lot of knowledge, and I never got it really.
I like accumulating the knowledge. I don't know. I like learning useless things as much as I like learning the things that we used to consider to be useful. I don't know what useful knowledge is anymore, really. I
guess
low level math,
but useful to not useful to me. Like I've got a calculator and I've got Google. Like I'll never need to know that math unless I want to pursue some sort of career in aerospace or something, right?
That's high level math. I was at a store the other day and a girl shouts out like, "What's 30 minus 7?" And she was stumped by it. I'm like, 23.
Oh,
it's my time to shine.
Who would say that in public?
I really thought there were going to be more steps.
That's embarrassing. 30 minus 7. Those are easy. That's a round number.
I had sympathy. You know why? Because one time when I was in high school, for the life of me, I was like, how do you spell who? Fuck. I'm drawing a blank. Like, who? All the things I'm trying don't seem right. And I'm sure Taylor can't relate, but who, if you don't know it, you can't guess it.
No, it's one of those that you're like,
H-O-O?
doesn't look right.
Like an owl?
I think that's more of like a Whoville person.
So when she didn't know 30 minus 7, I cut her some slack.
That takes its own kind of confidence to just belt out there. Hey, someone, 30 minus 7. What do we got, folks? What do we got? Like taking suggestions from the peanut gallery here. That's so funny. 30 minus 7. I know what you mean with the spelling thing. Like,
No,
every
you
once in a
don't.
while,
No, you don't, you liar. You don't
every
know.
once in a while, you forget how to spell something easy. For me, it's very quick. Like, and I'll be like, oh, okay. Like spelling, I'm so solid with spelling. Like
Restaurant,
math,
it can be,
every once in a while, like with math, I'll be like, 7 times 7. What the fuck is that one again? Oh yeah, 49. Okay, like, and if it takes more than a few seconds, it's like I don't even need to know.
Yeah. I'm not sure that like I'm pretty sure I have all my multiplication tables with the 9s memorized, but I didn't memorize them as a kid because I quit. My teacher taught us this way to learn them by doing this thing with your knuckles.
We didn't.
Yeah,
do that.
it was like okay, so like 9 times 3 is 27. So you've got 2 knuckles here. That's 2, and then there's 7 knuckles to the right, and it works for every knuckle. Then she taught us that for some reason, so we didn't have to memorize it. So you touch the 5th knuckle, and it's 9 times 5, 54, and it like keeps going. It works perfectly. So I never memorized those in school.
Yeah,
And then every
9
time
times 5 is not 54.
it absolutely is.
It's
Okay.
45 though.
Woody, trust me. You're right. You're right. See? I get the knuckles.
See, you gotta do the knuckles.
See? So there be times in my adult life, like jokes aside, where I'd be in a meeting or something at work, or like I'd be selling a car, and I'd be like, yeah, we do
Just
that.
count the knuckles. We can do that.
Sorry, I had to multiply something by 9 by using my hands like a monkey.
But I don't remember it. Like I think you subtract that number from the 9. I'm trying to remember it. Like what?
I think that if
Like
you
9 times 4.
so you're doing 9 times 3, so that's 27. There's 27 knuckles. There's 20 and then 7.
Wait, how many knuckles do you have?
Oh, like 20 and then 7.
This is so much harder than just memorizing it.
God damn it, I'm not saying it's practical now.
You know what happened?
Because-
Is your teacher never learned without the knuckle trick either. She's just passing misinformation down through the ages. Miss Stevenson, how do you do 9 times 6? We don't go past 8 here, kids. Wow, you're gonna go be a lawyer up north with your 9-digit multiplications. That's so fun.
Dude, Messi won the World Cup. I know we're not into soccer around here, but I
didn't know he'd never won.
yeah. So he's from
I don't know if
Argentina.
that's his first name or his last.
It's his Lionel Messi, something very close to
That's
that.
it.
Like a
And
train.
I just became a fan of this guy like 3 months ago in July. But when I broke my leg, there's this song called "Waving Flag," and in it there's a line. It's like, "When I get older, I'll get stronger," whatever. And it was what I needed emotionally to heal from my fucking broken leg because I suck at riding motorcycles. All right, so I became this Messi fan. Apparently, waving flag is associated with soccer, and I just watch his highlights again and again and again. I watched his highlights like 200 times, maybe more.
Damn.
Like a lot, because I'm in bed healing up, watching this like on repeat practically. And anyway, so now I'm like hoping this guy does well. But winning the World Cup apparently is some sort of crapshoot. You never know who's going to do well. It's a little random, and the best team doesn't always win, and he just keeps winning and winning and winning. He makes it to the finals, and there's this like Messi versus Matabe. I'm not a huge soccer guy, but that's close, from France. This guy won the World Cup at like 18 or something ridiculous, and now he's trying to win it again 4 years later. He wants to have 2 World Cups by the time he's like 22, and it is Jordan versus LeBron. It is these 2 guys, the best who's ever played in Messi, right? Perhaps the best soccer player the earth has ever seen thus far, against the guy who might be better, but he's only 22, so he doesn't have the career stats to prove it. And I was really hoping for Messi. If he didn't win it this year, he wasn't gonna be better at. He's like 35, maybe. Like it's not like he's gonna come back at 39 and be like, "All right, I figured it out. This is it. This is his chance." And
Not in that sport, I wouldn't imagine with all the running.
I would think you're right. Yeah. Well, he is on performance enhancing drugs, so that helps him.
Well, they all are, though. You know, it's the whole Lance Armstrong situation. You
might be right. He though has a. So Messi's a little guy. He's like 5'5". I'm making that up, but it's not far off. And he had some sort of weird, like his body's fucked. So he's allowed to take human growth hormone.
Oh, cool.
Huh. Yeah. So
he's like an odd job situation.
Yeah.
That's not even fair.
Like,
come on.
I don't know
odd
jobs.
So in 64 GoldenEye, you could play as Oddjob, who is a James Bond character, and he's a small Asian man. I think he was played by that. Oh no! In the Austin Powers version, he was played by the MMA fighter who was a rapist. Fun little factoid.
Warlord, that guy.
He was the one who got in trouble for the multiple dick punches. I think that time you may have seen him going ham on the guy's dick.
Yeah, that's older.
It's so funny. I know about the Austin Powers guy being a rapist because Kyle, you've told me this before.
yeah. So Oddjob and James Bond has a hat with like a razor's edge, and he throws it and kills people, decapitates them. But in the James Bond version, it's an Asian MMA rapist man. It's funny. I've actually seen his the police interview, the interrogation rather of him. He's like, "You may have seen me in Austin Powers. That was the guy with the shoe." And he's like trying to talk his way out of murder.
That's the guy with the shoe.
Like the cop was gonna be, "Holy shit! Did you get to meet Goldfinger? Get them handcuffs off him, Jim. Fuck."
This is a personal friend of Michael Myers.
So anyway,
we're going to give you the key to the city.
The old guy won his World Cup. It was great. And I think most people are rooting for him. Even if you like Matab, something close to that, Matabe, he already has a World Cup. And he's young. He can win more.
Yeah, he's 22. Who cares?
Did you see the news article about wondering why Argentina's soccer team is so white?
I saw it like a meme about it.
Yeah. I guess there's some news article about like, hey, what's the deal? Why is Argentina's team so white? And they're like, oh, see, we didn't kidnap half of Africa and import them. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't. I saw something different. It was like because we're a country, not a diversification program, or something like that. Like
sure.
And yeah,
like the real reason is all of Europe is being.
What the fuck? Why is Argentina's team full of Argentinians? Like, what the fuck?
Right?
What? Who should it be? Dickhead? Like, who should be making up the Argentina team? I bet they probably picked the best soccer players, and then that's who it happened to be.
I'm guessing that all the European teams are made up of Indian, Pakistani, and African players to some extent or another. Like, there's a lot of black Frenchmen who play soccer.
I'm making this up, but my suspicion is that much like America, a lot of our top athletes have African heritage, and that's why their teams are so diverse. So, if you look at the U.S. Olympic team, like our summer Olympic teams, what is America? 8% black? It's more than 8% black.
That.
Oh, it's more than that.
Am I wrong?
It's higher, but not by much. It's like 25 or 30% or something like that. And African Americans
definitely way lower than that.
African Americans are gifted beyond the average. Look, when you think Africans, you think those skinny fuckers with flies on them, right? You think of that like those kids with distended bellies. At least I do, because it's funny. But when you think African American, you think of like a big honking dude. I think that like whether you like it or not, the sad part of the slave trade was they weren't bringing like skinny weak people over. They were getting the biggest, strongest guys they could, and then those guys that were already the biggest and strongest had to somehow survive a horrific trip where they're just chained in the bottom of a boat for a month and a half or some shit, and then they have to survive life here. And then they also had breeding programs where they would breed the biggest slaves with the biggest other slaves and create super slaves. There's this book called Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. It's a children's story, but it's good. And one of the characters in there, he's
about that?
One of the characters, he's like,
for kids?
my mom. Yeah, he's like, my mama and daddy was breeding stock, but my mama loved my daddy, and they run off together. And then they got this whole story about how the white man came, and my mama and daddy fought them tooth and nail as the house burnt down around them. It's like the
Just
whole
a
story
classic
is.
children's tale.
Oh, I read it in the
Slavery
in,
is a really good part of children's stories. Yeah.
sixth grade. Yeah, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. If anybody, I don't know, it was good in sixth grade. It's a real banger.
It's good in sixth grade.
I mean, I was reading at a very high level.
Yeah, at the sixth grade level. There you go.
No, it was much higher than that.
It was like
Good book.
Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry.
Well, my point is that
I'm going to read the Warhammer one first, though.
I have a question for Kyle. You sent a link in the WhatsApp. It's something to do with Sugar Shane O'Malley calling people out, and I didn't understand it. There's a background that I didn't get.
Well, it's what I'm always talking about. How Khabib and these guys all like bow down to this Kadyrov guy, the Chechen like president warlord who's Putin's butt buddy, who is actively sending like troops into Ukraine and like massacring people. This guy who is a literal warlord bad guy. He's the one that Kamzat shows up to this kid's birthday, one of his son's birthdays parties. And then like he's like roughing Kamzat up, like punching him in the face with boxing gloves, this chubby little 14-year-old cocksucker. And it's like, yeah, I bet you. And then he makes Kamzat put it on his own Instagram. I thought that was funny. Khabib's the same way. He's the one that Khabib's been in like.
This isn't surprising. That Kamzat Chimaev, he's got the fucking Chechen beard. Like those guys like Putin a lot, right?
Well, these three guys.
If they like Putin, Putin must be cool. Because they're
sure.
Because those are cool beards.
I don't like those guys. I don't like Putin. Well, what Sugar Sean O'Malley is calling out is the fact that Justin Gaethje, Henry Cejudo, and who's the third one? Kamaru Usman all flew over at this guy's invite to go to another one of his kids' birthday parties because he's and they're like shooting guns in this guy's like firing range, like rockets and machine guns and stuff, and hanging out and it's a bad look, if you ask me. Like it's
I wonder what they get.
These are bad people.
Don't the guys?
Oh, they're getting a lot of money. They're getting cash. They're getting paid.
They're getting paid to go to these birthday parties.
Oh yeah.
Well, I like birthday parties. What are
but
they?
Don't they? Do they live there when they're not fighting here? Like, do they live in Chechnya and stuff?
All right, so we're talking about different people. So like what we're talking about right now is that 3 UFC stars, not Chechens or something. 3 UFC stars. Like this guy's a big UFC fan. Not only does he support like mixed martial arts in his country, along with being a warlord, he also is just a fan of the sport. So he's paying Henry Cejudo, who's I guess he's a Mexican American former champion, Kamaru Usman, who's Nigerian / American former champion.
Oh, okay.
And Justin Gaethje, who's just from the Midwest or like Wyoming or some shit, somewhere out west where they're
he might have been an interim champion.
Yeah, who was like, just a white American dude. He's paying these stars to come to his kid's birthday party out there, and they're all showing up and taking his dirty terror.
Do we know how much?
No, $100,000 would be easy to get them there. I bet it's less than that though.
All right, well that seems okay. Thank you for explaining that. This whole time I'm like, wow, breaking Chechens hanging out in Chechnya with Chechen guy. Like, no, okay, so this is just a guy from Wyoming who's like, yeah, I'll hang out at this Chechen warlord's house at the Lord of War, the
who
dealer
wouldn't
of
do
death.
it? For all the knocks I have on him, Conor McGregor would never do that.
No,
he did meet with Putin, so he did meet with Putin. To be fair, you remember he shakes Putin's hand. 3 years. He shakes Putin's hand, and then he goes like put his arm around. He like big brothers Putin. It's like he does the arm over, and then he immediately like. I think somebody's just like, hey, maybe we move. And he's like, that ain't how you deal with Putin. You get one of these. We're side by side. I'm not going to put my hand. No. Okay, I see. There's a big
Putin's a little guy, too. I wonder if
they're about the
Putin and McGregor about the same.
Yeah, 5'9", 5'8", somewhere in there, both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, look at there.
Nah, McGregor's...
Yeah, Conor's looking... See how he's... I think McGregor's doing a thing, though. Like
he does look like he's... increasing his size somehow, doesn't he? Like
look,
puffing out a bit,
and look, like raising his shoulder.
You've posed for pictures when you're trying to like Like, God damn, I look 30% fucking bigger if I turn a little to the left. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah,
I have
that's what he's
wide
done here.
hips, so I take pictures with my hips twisted a little bit. Big shoulder, small hips.
I want a photo with like a short male world leader. That'd make you look
That
good.
guy
Who else
who
is there
runs-
but Putin? I don't think he's on the
Kim
table
Jong-un.
anymore. Kim
Oh
Jong
my
Un.
God,
He might
Kim
be even more
Jong-un.
difficult to get in touch with.
You want someone that people don't
You're gonna
know.
shoot down all
how-
my ideas.
Yeah, sorry. When you're right, you're right. I need to come up with an idea before I
What
just
do
shoot it.
yeah, I mean, Taylor, you need to come up with a better idea. You can't just say mine are bad.
I want a picture with that the French president, the Macron guy, because I want to ask him what it was like to be groomed as a child. You know,
Taylor's
his
looking
wife.
for an easily accessible world leader. Do you know any
Yes.
of those, Kyle? World
And
leaders want to go to
Macron,
St. Louis.
The
World
French
leader.
guy, he's not even that short. I don't even think he is short. I think he's normal height. The whole point is I want to take a photo with a world
Maybe
leader
the
where it's like,
Canadian
damn, I
guy?
look so much taller than that.
One of
guy.
those good-looking world leaders, either Canada or France.
Why
I
would
thought
you want
was
to be in a
short.
picture next to a good-looking world leader? You want
Yeah,
the
I want an
ugliest one you can
absolute
find.
dog.
No, that hot one from like Finland or something.
Oh, they're all hot there.
I'd settle for like a Lindsey Graham.
But they're
I'd
not
look
all
tremendous
female.
next to
Like
Lindsey
one of them
Graham.
has a hot female world leader.
Slovenia or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I saw some hot
She got
blonde
caught
chick at the
dancing?
World Cup with like she had the gay sleeves on her shirt. They were making a big. They were all so proud how brave she is with her. Gay, oh, did she wear gay sleeves?
Wait, isn't it a little brave to do that in Qatar?
She's a fucking world leader. They can't do shit to her.
Of course, it's not brave to be a world leader and wear whatever you want there.
I
They're
saw
not gonna do anything.
Elon Musk is there with a big glass of wine, like laughing it up. Like if you've got enough money, they just don't care.
Dude,
Yeah.
Elon Musk is the most interesting person in the world right now. Like I'm here for. I don't know if my internet's breaking up, but
Yeah, no.
to me, 2 years ago, and for like a 6-year span, Donald Trump was the most interesting person in the world, right? Everything he said, he could misspell something on a fucking tweet, and we're like hamburger or kafofi or whatever he said. Like we're all so engaged. Now that person is Elon Musk. It's like well, right now I'm not, but I was waking up every day and just be like, what Elon do today? He had a poll as to whether or not he should step down from Twitter.
Yeah.
And they
I
said
don't-
yes.
I don't know how long his approach of like contrived drama every day is going to last. Because like,
Oh, I agree.
that's what he's doing.
Right, but Trump did it for 6 years. So I don't know when I'm going to wear out on this.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is that these people on Reddit think that they can like own the richest man in the world somehow by tracking his jet, and they're about to fuck around and find out because he'll buy Reddit if you mess with him enough. Like do you
hope
know
he
who
does.
you're messing with?
I hope he buys
I
Reddit and
immediately
shuts
Googled.
it down.
He
Just buys Reddit and shuts it down.
there's
Deletes the
a
whole thing.
subreddit called Elon Jet Tracker or something like that, and like there are all these fucking heroes are like they voted up to 7,000 upvotes every time he lands. By the way, I can't think of anything
What a bunch
lamer
of
than being
losers.
so far up this man's asshole that you think you can annoy him by like doing this while he has the most baller of lifestyle. I didn't know it. I thought Elon Musk was like bouncing around from like 3 companies or something a lot and like in board meetings and like, man, it must be stressful and boring. He's a fucking baller. It's just they're like every time I wake up, I check and his plane has gone from like Austin, Texas to the UK to Qatar for like a day at the World Cup, and then pictures of him, when he gets to Qatar, all of a sudden photos of him are everywhere, all over the internet. I'm just like getting them fed to me. Like, here he is with somebody we don't like. Here he is with someone we really don't like. Here he is with wine. I guess money has privilege. It's like, no shit. Did you notice he's in a skybox so high up that he's like, the air smells clean? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, he flew there in a jet that you people are tracking, you weirdo. Like, and then like
I hope he buys a private prison and puts all those fucking losers in it. That's it.
He flies that jet like it's his like it's a car. He's in that jet more often than most of us are in our cars.
I bet some people who have private jets at least consider the expense of the private jet. Like if you're Taylor Swift, it's like, should I take the jet? Yeah, I think I will.
She said
if you're
she just
Elon
loans
Musk,
it out. I'm like, yeah, take the jet.
if you're Elon Musk, like it's unfathomable wealth. A jet to him is like a dime to you. Like
Have you seen his jet, by the way? It's better than.
I bet it's
All right,
awesome.
So I will say this: Trump did a thing that makes it. I think that Trump did a thing by getting that 737 or whatever it is that sort of makes it so you don't have to get the coolest, most expensive jet because you went and got like a commercial airliner. It's like I bet that.
It.
Yeah, I bet it costs less though than like the slickest, pimpest like 32.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
So he says it does. I saw him talk about it. Oh, this is a while ago, so it's out of date, but it was on The Apprentice. And he's like, yeah, I bought this 737. I had it converted to be a personal jet. And it was a great financial decision. Not only is it better, but it's cheaper. That's his take on it. Now, I don't know if it's better. I imagine it costs a lot to
so
run
much
it.
bigger.
Yeah, it's got more room.
Right? But I don't know.
He's got a real bedroom in there.
What do you want in a private jet? Do you want it to be big? Do you want it to be inexpensive to operate? Do you want it to be fast? I think fast might be a really big deal.
Fast would be cool. And I think Trump's
Not too fast.
jet,
You want to enjoy it.
I think Trump's jet goes really fast.
I want to be able to go to France if I feel like lunch. Like
Yeah.
That would be cool.
right? Like, and how far am I from France? I'm in Raleigh, well, not right now, but pretending. If I just want to launch and land in Paris, can you do it in 6 hours?
What's 5 hours time difference?
Oh, I didn't consider. I mean, so you're saying there's time zones?
So we can do this. So we can definitely get there. We get there for lunch in France. Oh, actually, we'll miss lunch in France because they're ahead.
Looks like it takes 8 hours, Woody.
8 hours. Is that? Can a private jet do it faster or
I
slower?
bet it can. Yeah, if you're just getting a regular old flight from Raleigh to Paris, 7 hours, 55 minutes. So I bet it's way faster.
I just don't know enough about planes to do. This is like those stars, the trash turning into stars. But I think that I think the airliners fly at like 32,000 feet, and I think they go around like 550, 560 miles an hour or something, right? I don't think that your private jet, you're like, yeah, take us to Mach 2, Jimmy. Like that's not happening, right? Like so
you could afford.
You're definitely below 700 miles per hour. So like the difference is going to be negligible.
You could afford the best pilot who could fly the fastest jet.
The best pilot. You think it takes more talent?
I don't think it takes any talent at all.
Barrel rolls.
Barrel rolls.
Doing barrel rolls.
Actually, that would be pretty sick to have that guy. That's the other end of the spectrum, right?
618 knots, which is about 700 miles an hour.
Okay.
So that's quicker.
What plane is that?
The Cessna Citation.
Jesus. But is that an expensive plane?
It's considered the fastest one, so I have to assume that it's expensive.
That makes sense because 700 miles per hour is around where the speed of sound is. Obviously, depending on the altitude, but it's around there somewhere.
I had no idea what the speed of sound was.
Wait a minute. No. 700 miles per hour? No, it's 700 feet per second. That's what it is.
It's 343 meters per second.
So how many miles per hour is it? Is it more like 12 or 1300? Is it like way more? I have to know now.
Dude, I love how like the people asking this question like asked it the way I would, where they're like, "Is the speed of sound 1,000 miles an hour?" Like someone was just stabbing in the dark here. It looks like it's 761.2 miles an hour. Kyle hitting the nail on the head, pretty close.
All right. So this would be just below that, just like Kyle said. Yeah.
I think that breaking this, like getting close to it, causes all sorts of turbulence, right? Because you see. Whenever you see the footage of the planes approaching the speed of sound and then breaking it, I don't know. You can see all that crazy. What is it? That like turbulence.
I thought that was like the
air...
shockwave, like
is that movie
impacting
magic?
your perception of it.
No, that's not No, that's a real thing in lens. Like the air is doing that crazy like, and you can see it like move over the plane because some parts of the plane will be moving faster than others. That might be. The wind will be moving over parts of the plane faster than others.
Okay. So I'm like, the plane goes the same speed, I'm pretty sure.
The wind
Yeah, I
will
was
be
like, is this a
moving
trick
over
question?
parts
Am
of
I
the
going to
plane.
appear foolish if I counter signal him here?
The wind will be moving faster over certain parts of the
Yes.
plane, and you can see that for sure because those parts will be the wind at those parts is going faster than the speed
Yeah.
of sound, or creating that whatever that
Sonic
image
boom?
is, that sort of mirage, that visual thing you get.
Isn't that called, is that called the sonic boom?
Well,
But
the
he's
noise
talking
is
about
sonic
the
boom.
visual thing. I know it's. I
Where
can
it goes
picture what he's talking about, but I don't know much
Yeah,
about.
it's sort of this wiggly, like it looks like Star Trek energy,
And I'm like,
around.
Does it always happen, or does that happen at like certain condensation levels? I'm not sure.
Oh,
I bet it does matter. There was a lot of stuff about the water and the air.
Yeah,
Didn't read it, but they did mention it.
I guess it's condensed because the air is being condensed there, and it's moving fast, and you're seeing water vapor.
That's how clouds are made.
That's true.
And
So
something
diamonds
about,
are made too.
Those are the four elements of Earth, of our planet.
There's diamonds. There's water,
yeah. See,
airplanes,
he's making
and
diamonds.
shockwaves.
And of course, clouds.
That's really fucking cool.
There's
All right.
clouds, water, steam, and
Well,
of
I'm
course,
glad we
energy.
could make our audience smarter.
Oh, we're out of time.
When we're out of time, time for dinner.
All right, PKN 435.